the one on the third Thursday of every month, we look at the Chocolatey community. So in 11 years since Chocolaty was born, and yeah, Chocolaty is 11 years old, we've grown to become a huge part of, other communities grown to become a huge part of what we do here at Chocolaty. Now, we've got a special guest here today that we're going to interview, and we'll come to that in just a second. But before I go on to that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Paul Broadworth, and I'm the Technical Engineering Manager here at Chocolatey Software. And today I've also got my co-host with me, as I always do. I have Gary with me. Gary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I can do that. My name is Gary Ewan Park. I am the Senior Software Engineer, or a Senior Software Engineer here at Chocolatey Software Incorporated. I am also the product owner for Chocolaty, and I've been doing this for a while now. But yeah, looking forward to speaking to our guest today and grilling him about his use of Chocolaty.
Yes, so today we have, I'm going to hopefully pronounce his name correctly. We have Maurice Kevenaar with us from Amsterdam area of the Netherlands. Maurice, like our previous guest on the stream last month, is another long-term member of the Chocolatey community. Maurice, do you want to introduce yourself and tell me off for pronouncing your surname incorrectly, even though you told me before this how to do it? So.
Well, you did it correctly, Paul. No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Maurice Kevenaar. I'm living in close to Amsterdam. I'm working as a sysadmin or sysops engineer or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Yeah, I'm using Chocolaty for quite a while now.
Thanks, Maurice. As I've just noticed on the camera, I have disco lights appearing in front of me, which I didn't realize. No, I've just switched them off. I just noticed that. So if anybody thinks that I'm having a party, that's actually not the case. A button had been pressed somewhere and some lights appeared. So that was fun. But yeah, before we jump into asking Maurice all these awesome questions that we have, I want to ask you watching us today if you would like and subscribe, to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like the video and you don't like the content we're doing here, you can do a dislike on that as well. And that lets us know that we're doing the video type of videos that you guys want to see. And that's really, really important to us in order to boost the channel and get our message out there. So yeah, let's just jump into the questions. So as we did last month with Manfred, we're going to kind of continue the same sort of theme going, and we'll do the same with future guests as well, where we have a set of questions, and they're the same sort of questions for every guest, but we'll tweak them depending on the guest. And then we have a set of questions at the end that we're going to ask everybody in honor of Richard Campbell. I quite liked the questions that he always asks, the same set of questions he always asks in his podcast. And we're also going to look at a new part of what we're doing for the streaming, and that's we're going to look at how to pronounce what a Chocolatey package is. And this is where Gary gets a little bit sore because he's wrong. And I've even got a whiteboard that I've actually hung up behind me. You won't see this, but hopefully you'll see it there. And it's actually Gary's wrong pronunciation of NUPKG, Board of Shame. So I'm hoping that comes across well. And so far we've got Manfred on there, and we'll see how Maurice does on there. And at the end of the year, or at the end of our guests, we'll actually tot up and see that Gary has actually lost, and we'll just see how badly he has lost. So that's all we're really looking for there. So we'll come to that.
I'm inviting the next guest. I'm inviting the next guest, right? I'm in charge of who's coming on next, right? I think I am. I think I am.
No.
Well, I wasn't your pick, Gary.
Well, not after our last conversation, no, because you didn't give the right answer to me. So unless your mind has been changed, you. That's all I'm saying.
So you're manipulating our guests, Gary, before the stream, trying to get them to.
Noted.
I wouldn't like to incriminate myself. I will
take the
plead
fifth on
the
that
fifth.
one.
I will plead the fifth on that one. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, that's good to know that my colleague there is trying to subvert the guests. That's fine. So the very first question, just jumping into it. Maurice, tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from, and what do you do?
Well, like I said before, I'm a sysadmin living in the Amsterdam area. I work at a big company called Info, which doesn't say that much, but pretty much what I do there is I shove servers in a rack, and I'm designing a whole platform for a customer. So it's really a wide range of things that I do. Aside from that, I have been nominated 3 times as a Veeam Vanguard, which is the top level influencer program from backup software that we are using in our company. And yeah, so pretty much that.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for that.
So how long have you been in IT? Was this your chosen career? This is what you fell into, or?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I started with electrotechnics, and pretty much I knew already back then that I wanted to go into IT. So I needed that basic knowledge of electricity and stuff, for my opinion, to continue in the IT and do the bigger work there. So I switched pretty much after that directly to IT and continued on that one. Yeah.
Good.
So you said you were in IT from a young age, or you were?
Yeah.
What age did you get your first computer?
Well, my first personal computer, or the computer that we had in the living room, because if I would go with game consoles, what we had when I was a kid, I remember we had this Philips MSX game computer, which was I think when I was 2-3 years old or something, and right after that, I think we got a computer in the room, because my dad was in the IT as well, so we had all kinds of stuff. Pretty much from my young age. Yeah.
I got my very first computer when I was 11. It's a ZX81, so I was hoping you wouldn't beat me, and I would kind of take that for. There's a theme recurring in these streams that I have to beat Gary on everything. So I think it's kind of competition here. So you're going to say now it'll be when you were 4 or something.
My own personal computer in my room, I think I was 10, 11 or something like that.
12 maybe, just probably higher than 10. Which means I win. Do you know what your first computer was that you got on in your room, and the one you got for the family? Because they seem to be different.
I think we had a 386 or something when I was a kid. One with those big red IBM switches on the back.
Oh yeah.
Well, you have to to get it on.
Yeah.
And I think I got a 468 or something, or like that in
486.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. I think.
I was really late in getting a computer and an actual PC, a PC from in my own room. I was nearing the end of my academy, so that was what, 15, 16 before I got my own PC. I got into it really late, and I think I said this in the last stream. I had a Commodore 64, and we had that in the living room, but that was for games. That was nothing else. That was, Dad brought it home at one point, not really knowing what it was. He'd gotten it from some bloke at work, and we played games on it. We played Dizzy on it, we played Highlander on it, all the games that were there, but didn't use it for anything other than that. So I got into computing really late, actually, compared to you folks.
I remember we had Penguin Atlanta or something that we called on the MSX. And I remember as a young kid that I didn't push the cartridge deep enough in the console, and it would boot up into MSX Basic, which was some sort of basic that every game computer had back in the day. And my dad gave me a book called the Basic Cookbook, and it's not a cookbook like you use in the kitchen or anything. No, it's basic cookbook. And he taught me that if you type in the text in this font and you press the F5 button, then it will run a program. So that was pretty much my first touch pretty much with programming languages.
Yeah.
Cool. Gary, you mentioned you had games on your Commodore. Do you ever play Spy versus Spy? That was always my favorite.
Spy versus Spy. No, that doesn't ring a bell. It was
Oh,
all of the Dizzy games, Bubble Bobble. It wasn't the Highlander game. It was Conan the Barbarian. That was that one.
okay.
That kind of games. There was a shooting game. There was a infrared pistol that you had for clay pigeon shooting and that sort of stuff. So it was no, not Spy versus Spy. Not that I remember. I could dig it out. I still have the Commodore 64 and all the cassettes that go with it. I've been speaking to Maurice about this and how I might be able to. There's some new mods that you can do. We're getting completely off topic at this point, but you get you can get there's a new bit for the Commodore 64 where you can encode the audio cassette onto a SD card and replay it, so you don't need the actual cassettes or the discs anymore. And there's another one where you can fake the modem on it so that it connects over Wi-Fi. So if you really wanted to, you could have your Commodore 64 connecting to some BBS systems that are still up and running, and you see the line feed coming along as it's updating the screen and stuff. So yeah, there's a resurgence of antique at this point computing coming back. So I might get into it if I ever have any spare time to do stuff like that. So
I think we've lost half of our viewers. I can talk about this stuff all day. I love this stuff. Okay, jump back onto the questions. So when did you come across Chocolaty and how did it happen? How, the whole experience?
Yeah, funny story that we had a coworker who was blind, and they had trouble installing software because he couldn't see the installer. And he came across Chocolaty and he showcased it to me, saying, okay, this is this software that helps me doing my thing that I need to do, and gives me the possibility to install some piece of software without the need that I need to ask someone, what does this stupid wizard tells me to do, because I can't see it. And basically I was skeptic, like, package manager Windows, sure. It probably wouldn't contain that much packages at that time. There were already like 6,000 packages or so, and pretty much I started trying it out on a virtual machine, playing with it, and pretty much took a deep dive, and here we are.
When was that?
That was somewhere in 2018, early 2018, I think.
Okay.
Some around that, yeah.
That was quite a while ago.
It's not that much if you think about it. It's only 5 years.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the history of Chocolaty. It's probably about halfway through. Well, it's not actually halfway through. Third of the way through. So Chocolaty's 11 years old. So 11 and a half now. So about half.
I took a deep dive and created Chocolaty packages in the end. And currently I am at, let me check real quick, at 192 published packages and almost 30,000, 30 million downloads of my packages.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was 153 packages the other day, so I'm disappointed and upset now that
sorry,
193. I'm sure I could find 40 packages that I could do by tomorrow. So be busy tonight.
Well, there is this package maintainer that is stop maintaining packages, and someone in this chat is maintaining his repository. There are a lot of packages still there that you can take over.
You're welcome to take over some of those if you want, Paul.
I could just grab the ones that can just be pushed up without doing anything overnight. Yeah, good idea.
So obviously there's a bit of a jump between finding out about Chocolaty and using it in the workplace scenario to actually making contributions into Chocolaty. So when was the first time you made a contribution to Chocolaty?
Well, my first Chocolaty packages was in October 2018. So not that much of time between starting using it and making my own package. And my first PR into Choco.exe or Chocolatey CLI was in May 2019, which was merged in a later version, which would allow you to use -- pre to check for outdated packages. So
okay, yeah.
Remember that one?
I've got a vague recollection. Yes. So was that when we first chatted? Then was that when we? Was that the
No,
first
we had
interactions
contact
we
before
had?
that.
We had
Okay.
okay.
Sure, because I think in January 2019 you had this live stream about what the community moderation was.
Oh, so it was in that time frame. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I think
That sounds right. And then we've obviously met in person, which was really nice. We met in person for the first
September.
time. Yeah. So that was
Winops,
correct?
Yeah. Indeed.
So,
yeah, in London.
Yeah, that was a good time actually. That was a good trip because there was quite a few of the Chocolatey community there that day. So we all went for supper, didn't we? We all went out for a meal. I think, didn't we? Was that year?
Yeah, that was 2019.
Yeah.
Is that did we not do a workshop?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, with the alchemists or something called
the actual
or something.
Place. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember. Yeah, I think I paid for it and then I expensed it. So yeah, I think that was the way it worked. So no, yeah, fun times indeed. So yeah, first pull request was in Chocolate, and then you've also been involved in some of the other projects. I know that you've had some. You're one of the translators for Chocolate GUI, translating that into Chinese. So we're thankful for you doing that work. It's really appreciated. Yep.
Yeah, let's call it Dutch, but yeah.
Because it's one of the kind of the unspoken things that happened. We have quite a few. We've got a diverse. I think we've got like something like 10 or so different languages that are either partially translated or at least or fully translated. So yeah, you get pinged every time we make a new edition for some of the strings within Chocolatey GUI. So yeah, we're thankful for you to get that translated into Dutch for us. So yeah, no, it's really good.
You're welcome. And yeah, I made other contributions. Let's not talk about those URL validation.
Yeah, let's not talk about that one, Maurice, because you've caused me nothing but sleepless nights, endless updates to package validator for that. Yeah,
you're welcome.
It's all your fault. Yes,
and verifier as well with the screenshot that I'm creating.
As well. Yeah. So that was back in the time. So Maurice contributed to some of the package moderation services when they were open source. So we've subsequently moved some of those to closed source so that we've got a little bit more control over the infrastructure. But yeah, before that was done, you were a contributor. I think you played with the language server in VS Code that we haven't really done much with yet either. Need to go back to that at some point. But yeah, you've been involved in quite a few of the different aspects. Really
VS Code extension indeed. Yeah.
So no, really thankful for the work that you've done in all those bits. So long may it continue.
And not forget the Chocolatey diff module, PowerShell module.
Yes,
we're going to come on to that. Keep the game away. Okay, that's it. Right, let's go. We're finished.
Sorry, but yeah, you asked me what I did. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
To be fair, you haven't seen the questions before today, so yeah, you wouldn't know that. We're going to ask you about that. So yeah, so we've talked about your community contributions. We've talked about your first issue pull request. Do you actively start participating in the community at that time? We were using Getter way back in 2018, 2019. We don't talk about that now. But
yeah, I was active in chat. Not so much currently, but yeah, but back in the day, I was quite active in chat. I was helping people. I was pointing people to the correct direction. Maybe do some mini moderation somewhere, and later on, became an official package moderator. Later, 2019, I think, somewhere. Yeah,
one of the core team of moderators that we have now. Still a moderator. One of the core team of moderators that we have just now. But you'd mentioned that since we've transferred over to Discord from Getter, you said, "Oh, not so much now." Is there a reason for that? Or is it just life gets in the way?
Life, busy at work, running around with all kinds of stuff that I'm currently doing. I'm currently doing stuff that is out of my league, pretty much, and yeah. I'm doing fine. I'm getting there, but it takes a bit longer and takes a bit more of my energy to do the thing that I need to do and what I can do. But yeah, it's fun.
That's a point we'll come to kind of later on as well. But a lot of when you're doing package moderation, we get questions from people saying, "Hey, my package has not been moderated; it's been there for a week or something like that." And it's nice to put a kind of face, that human face to moderators to say, "Do you know what? You've just said I have life, that things are getting busy. I have these things at work," and it's nice to kind of show that it's human beings behind the moderation. It's not all, we're talking about package moderation services and how a lot of that's automated, but ultimately it comes down to a human being saying approved or rejected, or pushing it back to maintainers, we would probably do.
Reject is not that much that I would use. The only reason I would actually use reject is if you would do something really, really, really malicious, and the only intent of the package was to do something malicious, or when the maintainer would request it, saying, "Can you please reject this package because reasons?" That would pretty much the only reason I would pick that option, reject, and all the other cases I would push back to the maintainer saying, "Okay, can you change this? Can you change that? Can you do this? Can you do that?"
Yeah. As soon as I said the word reject, I regretted saying it. Because as moderators, you don't reject, but as you said, unless, and it happens, maintainers come along and say, "Hey, could you reject this package for reasons?" There's lots of reasons people want to package rejected, and we would do that. And after a while, packages are automatically rejected as well. But the first step of any moderator is to push things back to maintainers and say, "Hey, could you update this on the package, or that needs change, or whatever it is." We don't automatically reject things like that. Okay, thanks.
So just working our way down the list then. So you mentioned earlier that one of your colleagues at work was where you kind of found Chocolatey. Is Chocolatey still actively being used at your work? And if so, can you talk about it?
Not so much. Okay. Not so much. I use it for my own maintainability. One thing that I did is I created for the Veeam software a lot of packages. I believe somewhere around 40 or 50 packages are currently Veeam related, and I'm using those same packages myself to update the software that we are actively using, pretty much. In category of eating your own dog food, that's
I remember when you first started those, because correct me if I'm wrong, the way that the ISO, the way the installer for a lot of the Veeam products works, it's a fairly hefty ISO that you then have parameters that go into it to say install this thing, or this thing. So the question you came to initially is like, can I really put this big installer into every single package? And then what came out of that was the concept of downloading it once as a dependency package, and then you created the ISO mount extension that allows the mounting of that ISO to then be able to use it in a repeatable way. I remember that.
Another thing I beat Paul with.
Yeah, I'm regretting making this a competition. Actually, I might not be successful as I thought it was going to be at the beginning.
Sorry,
that's okay. My own fault. Something I wanted to get. Oh, sorry.
I created the extension pretty much because I needed it. And
I think we had documentation around it before, because there's a couple of ways of doing ISO mounting, either through the PowerShell commandlet that's available, or there was a package that you could use to do it. So we had guidance around it. But the fact it was a natural way of providing the extension package so that anyone could consume that function once it's created and just mount the ISO and then install directly from it, rather than extracting and all that sort of things that you otherwise have to do. So
in the end, the ISO mount extension is just leveraging after the mount, leveraging the normal Chocolatey commandlets to install the software. So it's still Chocolatey, only with an extra wrapper around it to mount the ISO and say, okay, you need to go this way to find your MSI in this case.
No, like I say, the way that rather than download the ISO multiple times across multiple packages, it's a very nice kind of clean way of doing it in a download it once and then reuse it across multiple packages. So yeah, it's a really smart way of doing it. There's a similar approach for the likes of some of the JetBrains tooling that have a similar idea where they download one big installer, and then depending on parameters that are passed in, it installs that specific one. So
and I remember explicitly asking Paul to have a look at the Chocolaty isolant extension, because I know he is Mr. PowerShell pretty much, and I know he was really hammering back. So no, we cannot use the Chocolaty name in there. And in the end, I think Rob gave the final go. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm flattered you called me Mr. PowerShell. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I thought that was my name. I mean, I'm the PowerShell guru on the call here.
Mr. Uncompiled C# is your name.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue.
Something that's not on the question list. The reason we have the questions is maybe to tease out some other information. It's not just so we could stick rigidly to them. But you mentioned the Veeam Vanguard stuff that you do. You know, you've got those packages there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, in what context do you want me to talk about?
Well, what is Veeam Vanguard? What is it you do for it? How do you, how does it all work? And how are you involved?
A lot of you, I think, are known with the MVP program from Microsoft, or the Cisco, VMware vExpert program. It's not the same, but it's the same. So pretty much what the Vanguard program is that you are seen as a top-level influencer, either by contributing something big into the community. In my case, the Veeam Chocolatey packages for a lot of their different products that they have. Or you're writing so many blog posts about software or feature XYZ, or you have written a book about it or whatnot. And that makes you eligible to be elected as a Vanguard. There are within Veeam 2 other programs. They have the Legend program and they have the MVP program. The MVP program is pretty much all the Vanguards and Legends who are hired by the company, because they are not allowed to be in the community program anymore. They need to store them somewhere, so they make the MVP program. And the Legend program is, I think, a program that you contribute to the new Veeam Community Hub, where they allow you to create blog posts and things like that. Which you
also do the Dutch Veeam user group as well, though, right? You're
correctly
co-owner of that, or co-organizer of that. Yeah,
correctly. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, and
they also do some pretty cool swag as well, similar to the
that was going to be my
MVP
question.
Program and the
it's a stickers
program
was what I was going to ask.
He's got his own Dutch user group stickers as well. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Stickers.
You've got stickers. There's no point having a program if they don't have stickers. It's like, well, what's the point?
Exactly. And there are some amazing Vanguard stickers as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the logo. I just have them in my this is a holographic side. I don't think you can see that. But yeah, I just had them in my bag, which is sitting next to me, so I could grab them real quick.
How long have you been in or how long have you been a Vanguard?
This is the 3rd year, so I started in 2020. Awesome. Pretty much, we started in summer 2019 with the software, and yeah, for me, the Chocolaty package were lacking. There was a long-standing, open-standing issue over at the request for packages back in the day from another big community package contributor. I'm not going to say his name. And pretty much, I was like, okay, this is standing there already for like a year or two, and well, let's try, let's do it.
Was it me?
No, it was not you.
Okay.
No, I think I know who he's talking about. I think I remember the saga. Yeah.
Okay. Let's not.
So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Gary, you wanna
Sure. So the kind of a leading question in the next one, but it's so obviously as a user of Chocolatey, you're familiar with the feature set, what's available. What do you think is missing? What do you think? What would you like to see implemented next for your needs?
Well, I'm not sure if it should be next, and I don't think it's Chocolate CLI or anything. But what I am missing from a sysadmin perspective is a automated, sorry, Paul, an automated status page. I know that's something on your wish list.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's there, but I think that's for every company that's bigger and having a lot of users. I think it's almost mandatory to have that as an automated page telling you, okay, we have an issue. The website is response time of the website is more than 3 seconds. Partial outage, dang, directly, and so on and so on and so on. And that can be done easily using for my, at least for me, as in a GitHub Action kind of setup that I currently have for my own trying to play with it, or maybe some professional services, which is obviously more expensive.
I think it's fair to put it in context where we are right now. So yes, you kind of hinted at the fact we do have a status page, but it's a manual effort at the minute to update with right, there's a recognized problem with the site or one of the associated services. We update that and then we attempt to keep that status page up to date as things are progressing. But yeah, having some sort of automation around that to identify that there's a problem ahead of time would definitely be useful to have. And I know the likes of Josh and James and the team would probably want to jump at that to implement that. The issue there is always a case of prioritization and deciding where we need to dedicate some effort. But I think it goes without saying it is something that's wanted. It's part of the issue there is there are ongoing changes to our infrastructure and then settling down on where that infrastructure is and how to monitor it and then how to be able to update the status that goes with it. So I think it's on the list. I think it is something that's certainly on the backlog. It's just a case of deciding. But it's a fair point. It's absolutely a fair point.
I think Paul and I have been talking about that before as well. Maybe even on GitHub.
Guys.
Well, we wouldn't know anymore. We deleted the
that's gone.
The rooms are gone.
Yeah, no, it's almost since the status page was implemented, people have been asking for it to be automated. At the time when it was implemented, we didn't have anything at all. So, and at the time as well, we did have a series of outages, which again, there's no secret. Actually, we wrote a blog post about it. We had a series of outages, and we'd said, we have to put something in place, even if it's just manual at the time. For the time being, we just need to get something out there. And it's evolved a little bit since then. It's got a bit more sophisticated, but it's not automated by in any sense. And it is somewhere we want to get to. It's somewhere that we think that it'll help our customers in the community a lot more when you can see things like, as you said, Maurice, if it's, there's a slow response, 3 seconds you use, but whatever metric we use, then at least it alerts people to, hey, you're pushing a package, maybe it's going to be a slow day for you, maybe it's going to reject it, that kind of thing. At least then that there's something potential to come back and retry later on. It's not your fault, it's not something you've done.
But kind of hot on it as well, that the fact that there is a status page, folks assume that it is automated. So when there is an issue, they go to the status page and it's like, oh, it's all green. Why is things not working? It's like, oh, right, we've not updated it yet. So it's a kind of a catch-22. We need the status page there, but once we have it, people assume that it's automated. So and
if it's automated, you can also automatically push a message out to Discord saying, hey, this is going on, and people will stop asking the question or saying, oh, I am seeing 0 packages when I search.
Which there's some good examples probably. Obviously, if you're using something like GitHub Actions, then you naturally go to the status page at GitHub or Azure DevOps. You get quite an immediate response to know it's automatically tweeting out to say that there's an issue, etc. Now, thankfully, we're not at I wouldn't say we're at the system critical level for certain things, because the way that we advertise Chocolaty in terms of usage, especially for organizations, is that you internalize or you create your own package repository internally. So it's not as system critical as some of the other systems that have automatically updating status pages. But we are getting to that point. We are becoming to the point that people are reliant on Chocolaty, and the CCR is always running. And we are, Paul, remember the dark days when we were available 24/7 over a Christmas period where things were fundamentally broken. We've not had one of those kind of situations in a long while now, touch wood. I'll probably just jinx it. But it's certainly, the infrastructure has improved greatly from where we were, and we've not had the
no questions asked.
We've not had the problems that we had before. So yeah, we're making strides in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably why the infrastructure has improved, because we were on call 24/7 over that particular period. But when we're not doing this again, this is not on. So yeah, we'll put those in place. We've got team members. You know, as Gary mentioned, Josh and James now are kind of responsible for that side of Chocolaty.
They can be on 24/7 now.
They can be on 24/7 now, and I can sleep soundly. So it's no longer. No, I'll probably be called as well. But you know, at the time it was me, Gary, Rob. That was it. You know, so now that, you know, things are a lot more structured, and we have a lot more infrastructure and automation, etc., in place. So yeah, lessons learned. But as Gary said, as we become more and more integral to organizations and to people's infrastructure, then having that automation there and that notification there becomes more and more critical to it. But yeah. So the next question is around about community moderation. And just to explain, as I did in the last stream, and for new people, what a moderator does for Chocolaty is, when you submit a package, it goes through a series of automated services. So at the moment we have a package validator, package verifier, package scanner, and yeah, that's it. We have those three automated services that it goes through, which validates, verifies, and scans a package, hence the names. We're really good at naming it Chocolaty. And they're all automated systems, and then once it goes through one, it progresses to the other, and eventually your package gets to a human being, assuming your package isn't trusted. And we do have a number of trusted maintainers, such as vendors, etc., who, you know, the package comes straight out of their build system. But by and large, the packages hit a stop and wait for a human being to actually look at that package, look at the contents of it, look at the PowerShell, all the bits and pieces, and ultimately approve it, or push it back to the maintainer, not reject. So that's where people like Maurice come in, and people like Manfred that we had last month. They are community moderators who do this in their spare time, their own time. They volunteer their time to look at packages to benefit the community on behalf of the community. So that kind of covers what a community moderator is. But Maurice, how long have you been a community moderator?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm 2019-ish.
Okay.
I guess somewhere around that.
So about 3 years now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. At least I waited until the stream that Gary had about what community moderation was to see what it would involve, and what we needed to do, and what a community moderator responsibilities would be. And I think he explained a bit about the validator and verifier back in the day as well. Scanner wasn't mandatory at that time, but yeah.
Okay. But it's, so you saw what the stream that Gary did, and you thought that sounds like something I want to do to kind of help with the community and help get these packages through.
Well, let's be clear, it was an amazing stream, Paul, because it was mine. Well, yeah. So I mean, why would he not? So it was December. That was December 2018.
Oh, there you go.
There was two. There were back-to-back. There was two streams back-to-back, which was a discussion about rate limiting on the community repository, and then the second one was a focus on the package moderation process. But yeah, that's a long December. That's a long time ago.
Were you a GitHub star at that point, Gary?
No, I wasn't. No, that came later. Yeah,
in case anybody doesn't know, Gary's a GitHub star. He's a star in our eyes, always, but he's also a GitHub star and an MVP.
MVP, yeah.
I think an all-round just awesome guy. So
you're not an MVP, Paul. We know. We all know.
I'm not. I actually still am an MVP, Maurice. I just that's attacks. I'm feeling attacked. Attacked. But yeah, Gary.
Yes. So following on, so I think I said this on the last stream as well. I think I took this saying from Rob originally. Like, package moderation is the best thing about Chocolatey Community Repository, and it's also the worst thing about the Chocolatey Community Repository, because someone at the end of the day has to sit and help moderate those packages. It's not necessarily a pleasant job. It can be taxing. It can be, depending on the size of the queue, it can take a long time to do it. So I know you've said that you've had kind of other life commitments, and that's absolutely fine. But what keeps you coming back to wanting to help out with moderation, wanting to see those packages going through the queue?
Well, for starters, I'm using those packages as well, and probably I am backed by not approving those packages not being approved, because I cannot update software XYZ, or it says I want to download or install from the website, and it's annoying. Go away. I just want to use Chocolaty. But I also help the community, giving something extra back to the community, not only by providing my Chocolaty packages, my 192 Chocolaty packages.
It was 193 earlier.
I think it was more than Paul. Yeah,
it's more than Paul.
I'm going to update that number.
Not only not only by contributing those almost 200 packages, but also by helping get those other how many 7,000 packages along.
Like that. Yeah, 7,000. I saw it earlier. I had it open earlier. 7,175.
So close to 7,000 packages get along in the moderation queue and help the community being able to use those packages as well, and not only wrong username, Corbob.
Yes, 153 is all I have. Sorry, I was just interrupting there with my sad news.
But no, like I say, it is, and we are grateful for the even if it's not currently as much as before, because like I say, life gets in the way. I mean, I've gone through periods where I've not been able to do any moderation for weeks on end, and I've kind of left it to other folks in the community to do. But there was a time when that was how I started every day. I got up, I started work, and it was an hour of moderation every day, trying to keep it ticking over. I don't have the bandwidth to do that anymore, but I do still contribute what I can when I can. So it's yeah, we're definitely thankful for what you can add into that mix. And there is Paul's. It's not tracking is the wrong word, but we've now with some of the improvements to some of our backend infrastructure, we can get better metrics out of who is doing the moderation, and it's all about the internet points. It's about the gamification of the process. So the more internet points that you can get, the better. Big fan of those. So the fact that we're surfacing some of those to the moderators, I think, will help with the gamification around that. So, and if there's badges at the end of it, I mean, or stickers, who knows, it would help that regard as well. So,
what I find strange about the stats that we can pull out is that generally it's me that posts them, and every month I'm at the top of that table, and I don't know.
It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah,
and that's purely a coincidence. Nothing more than that. So
I thought it was the Chocobot user who does all the automated approval.
No, that's
Paul's
it does. It gives the stats out, but I actually post them after, because if the Chocobot posts them, then they'll tell the truth, and I won't be able to appear at the top. So
then I thought the Chocobot and Paul were the same user.
We are.
Don't give the game away.
We are the same person. Yeah, I was just, as I said, I was looking at my packages of the 153 in there, which isn't quite. It's more closer to 150 than 200. Maurice. So thanks.
It's not a contest. It's not a contest.
No, it is now. It is now.
Well, I already lost the contest from Kim, so I'm giving up on that.
How many does Kim have then?
I've only
At
got
least
28, but I actually also don't moderate or maintain any of those packages. So
not true. You maintain the Chocolatey GUI package. Come on.
And the Chocolatey one, and that's technically why my download stats are quite high. 277 million downloads of my packages, because one of them is the Chocolatey package itself. So fun times.
Kim only has 110 packages. So
yeah,
no, it's strange. But he does work very hard on
a lot of them would be under the Chocolatey Community org. So
he does a lot of work over there.
He does awesome work over there.
Corey, you just need to pipe down in the chat room there, Corey. I'll have words with you later, sir.
But I think it's just to reiterate what Gary said. The work that you've done in the community is fantastic, Maurice.
Thank you.
With all the packages and the moderation and everything, and where you're saying things are a bit quieter just now, you've not gone away. It's not like you've abandoned any of you. You're still there, and life gets in the way. That's cool. We're still here when you get back in any little bit that you can do. We're really appreciative of it. So it's not about the quantity. It's about being there and being consistent. You've certainly been that over the years. I was just looking at the Chocolatey community user there. They have 338 packages with almost 578 million downloads of packages. So, and a lot of that work now, and there were a lot of maintainers involved, but I think we would all agree that now that's primarily down to Kim for the work that's done in the Chocolatey Community Chocolatey Packages Repository. So yeah, I've actually lost where we are in the questions list. I think we're at
number 10.
Yeah, the number 10. Okay. So yeah, this is us talking about. You mentioned earlier on, Maurice, about your PowerShell module that you created to help with package moderation. Can you just tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, basically, what it does, it downloads two versions of the same package, and it uses a diff. To compare what's on the left side and what's on the right side, and make sure that the shows what the differences are, and it helps the moderator to see, okay, nothing important change or nothing else than the expected changes are made. I can approve this package blindly because it's the same as before. And that helps speed up the process for moderation as well.
Yeah, because a big part of the moderation is knowing what's changed and being able to eyeball the changes. So once a package has gone through the initial moderation phase, realistically it is, or the versions change or the download URL has changed and the checksums change, and that's kind of it. It's only once a package maybe gets refactored that the files change within it. Yeah.
It's not the golden goose, but it helps you see the differences. And obviously, you still need to check, okay, is the code still okay-ish for what it needs to do? But most packages are set the checksum, set the URL for the download file, create the stub. Yes. How do you call it again? I'm sorry, I'm lost in the words here. The PowerShell thingy, and then execute the command.
The splitting of the arguments, you mean?
The hash table. Yeah.
The hash table, that was the word I was looking for. And run the the install Chocolatey install package, or commandlet, and let do the thing. There are some packages out there that do a lot more thing than just download and install, and yeah, those are the ones that you need to have a closer look at, and that takes a little bit more time. And even
those are the ones where a diff does help, because once you've gone through maybe the earlier package version, you don't necessarily have to go through the entire screed of all the automation scripts again. It's just knowing what's changed within those, and something like the package diff module that you have definitely helps with that. It's something that's been asked for to go onto the website for a long time, I know Manfred's a big fan of that sort of feature, and he's been advocating for it. So perhaps at some point that might become available. But for now, the module that you have helps moderators do exactly that. Yeah. So it's a great addition to the community.
Okay. So I think we're at the last one, Gary.
We are. So yeah, is there anything that we haven't asked you that maybe you wanted to talk about, or that you would wish that we asked you? Anything that you wanted to bring up?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
Not that I can think of.
Glad to be at the end of the Inquisition. There we go.
Oh, we're not finished.
Oh shit. Oh,
we have.
Am I allowed to say that?
Well, you have done. So it's too late now. It's on the internet, so it's there forever. So these are kind of common questions that we want to ask everybody to get an idea of where they are. But it's really in honor of Richard Campbell. I keep saying this, and I always thought this was a great bit that he did. The last one we'll come to is mainly so I can win. So we've got 4 questions, but the first one is, what is your favorite coding language and why?
I don't pick favorites. There are coding languages that I do more in, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I do a lot in PowerShell for obvious reasons, but I try to pick the no, not JavaScript. Definitely not JavaScript. But what I try to do is I find the language that matches the task that needs to be done, and not stick to one language to do a task. It depends, basically.
What's the Discord bot that you've been playing with? That's
JavaScript or Node.js.
Node.js. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I had in my head, for some reason I had in my head it was Python, but I couldn't remember what it was.
It could be Python as well. It could be Go as well, but
okay. Cool. Okay, so following on from that, then, so when you are coding, what's your favorite IDE, or what do you enjoy using for that sort of purpose?
VS Code, pretty much.
Okay.
There are a lot of extensions available. I even create some Chocolatey packages for some extensions that are available in the community. But yeah, VS Code, I think it's a great free IDE that gives you a lot of power. It even gives you, a lot of people don't know that, I think, is be able to connect to a remote computer and run the VS Code server automatically on that machine, and only have the GUI on your machine, but doing the actual things and stuff on the remote machine.
I think a lot of folk do that from the likes of an iPad as well. If that's their entry point, they can run the VS Code server and then have the VS Code running on there as well to do the work. But it's the same engine. It's in the likes of the GitHub.dev and GitHub code spaces, and you can do it through Gitpod as well. It's the same engine that makes all of those things happen. So yeah, it's a brilliant bit of kit.
This is, I mentioned this last time as well. I used to have a manager who's, this next question was his favorite task at interviews. And it wasn't really to be flippant, it was to let people react. So this is in honor of Dave, who's no longer with us. And what is your favorite chocolatey biscuit or cookie?
Well, I'm going to be honest, the chocolate chip.
Nothing really, nothing like Dutch like, or a fancy biscuit we've never even heard of, nothing like that, no?
My favorite one doesn't have chocolate.
Yeah. Well, it's
the stroopwafel. Come on.
Dutch stroopwafel. Okay. But you could technically put chocolate in that. I'm sure there's somebody's put chocolate in between the two.
On top, maybe.
There you go then. A chocolate stroopwafel. There we go. See the way we spun that?
Stroopwafel.
A stroopwafel. Okay.
Perfect. Are you Dutch?
Yes. I'd have said that in Dutch. No. Sadly, no. Okay, that's still chocolate. I think we can use that. So we'll just edit that out in the later bit. Okay.
So
and the final one.
We've got to the most important question of this whole interview. Now, previously, in the last stream, I would have had it appear up here, but for some reason, OBS is not playing ball today, so I haven't been able to show it. So I will have to vocalize what the question is. So the question is, what is the correct way to pronounce the word that is spelt NUPKG? We had an answer last time from Manfred, who was obviously wrong. So how do you pronounce it, Maurice, and why?
Yeah, sorry, you gotta unfriend me now, but I'm sticking with new package. Sorry, it's
yes, that's like
it's
2-0.
If you look up the pronunciation of that word, it says new package.
Look up where? What do you mean? What does that mean?
There is this dictionary on the internet,
Right. Okay.
which tells you how to pronounce English words for non-English speakers. And it says, sorry, Paul. I'm sorry, Gary, sorry. Yeah. You can unfriend me now, I know.
Shocking.
I'm not a maths genius. Okay, I think we could probably all agree that. But I think that's 2-0. So yeah. So Gary's so far losing.
This is a hill that I will continue to fight on. I'm not.
That hill is disappearing, and we're shoveling it away, Gary. You're going to be standing on.
Like I say, I will be bringing on the next guest for this stream. Don't you worry.
It's going to be your daughter, isn't it? Who you've manipulated.
Child, how do you pronounce this word, child? Yes, well done.
Yes, Daddy. Yeah.
Howtopronounce.com.
We finished those questions. We finished the common questions. So there's a couple we want to kind of wrap up with that we like to ask our guests. The first one of that is, what's your favorite memory regarding Chocolaty? For example, meeting folks in person for the first time, attending a conference, or anything like that.
Well, I really like the win-ups in London, meeting you guys indeed, but I think that would still be the story that I told of my coworker, my blind coworker, being able to do his work with Chocolaty, Chocolaty, without any help from somebody else, and making him independent from anybody else. And I think that's my favorite memory, which involves Chocolaty.
Do you know, that's actually the first time I've heard that memory, but it's also the first time I've heard or really thought about the impact that something like a package manager has on people. So that, I mean, that's an amazing story that Chocolaty is taking all of the company out of it, and it's just an amazing story that a tool that someone has written could help somebody get on better on their computer. That is pretty amazing.
Hence me making the JAWS package for him, because the software was no longer being maintained, because that was his software that he's using for screen reading.
Yeah.
And I couldn't listen to it because he played the audio like 4 times speed, and it was like, for me it was just beep what it was saying, but he could hear it. I don't know how, but he could hear it. But it tells the whole thing that is outputted in the PowerShell into his earphones, and he starts his computer, open up PowerShell in the morning and do Choco upgrade all, grabs his cup of coffee, and when he's back, all his software on his machine is updated. That was his daily workflow, pretty much.
Okay, so just conscious of the time. So, what final kind of final question just to round out? So, what's next for you then, Maurice? What's the future hold for you? Immediate future hold for you?
A lot of things at work. I've got a lot of things going on at work. I'm currently writing a series of blog posts about Chocolaty over at the Veeam Community Hub. If you follow me on Twitter, I think you can find that on tweets that are sent out. I'm sending links about them on the Twitters. Those kind of things pretty much.
Very good. Very good.
Just going to post your Twitter into the chat, Maurice.
Oh, that's fine. And my phone will explode now, probably with new followers.
Awesome. Well, Gary, have you got anything to finish up with for Maurice?
No, just other than just to say thank you.
You're welcome.
It's been we chat quite often, obviously, but it's nice to chat with you in this kind of setting. So it's like I said this before last week as well, or last time as well. I'm loving being able to introduce the community folks to more people on the stream. So happy to chat, and we have a bit of a laugh while we're doing it. So no, it's been good fun again. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice. I really appreciate you coming on, and really appreciate everything you do for the community as well. If you get anything you want to ask or say before we finish up?
No, not at this point. I'm just having a laugh at what Corwab is saying over it in the chat.
Cool. Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen, Corey. Let's be honest. That's just not going to happen. No. I may have to. I'm not going to say I'm going to rethink how I pronounce nutkeg, because that's obviously correct.
You just have.
I will be. I don't know. I'll have to rethink my. I'm waiting for someone to say, because I've also heard NUPKG as the pronunciation of it as well, because people haven't formulated a way of saying it. So I'm waiting for someone to come on and have.
That's why I put the question mark at the end in case people. Yeah. And to be fair, the very last one before that is nukeg. I've only ever heard one person say that, and yeah, you know who you are.
He says a few words different in a different way.
He does say very. Yeah, he does. Okay, so we're going to wrap the stream up today, and I want to say a big thank you to Maurice for coming on. And I want to say Gary to Gary as well for being my co-host today. Please, if you like the video, please give us that like. Please subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what we're doing today, please dislike that video, and we can see why, and we can see all those stats, and we can tailor the content to that. You can also follow us on Twitch. That's greatly appreciated. So yeah, thank you to y'all for coming today. Again, thanks to my guests and to my co-host today. And yeah, we'll catch up with you on the next stream. Is it going to be on the 6th of October, Gary?
That rings a bell. Yes, that sounds correct.
And we're going to look at CCM 010.
Yeah, so we've just recently shipped a new version of CCM 010 that has some new features and new functionality. So I'm going to hopefully do a live demo. So assuming that demo gods are in a favorable mood, I will be demonstrating all the ins and outs of what we shipped in that release. So looking forward to that.
So hopefully see you all there. If you want to find out about that, get notified. As I said, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, and you'll get notifications of that. So thank you very much to everybody, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.